Hey, Espresso lovers, Mark here from Whole Latte Love with Zach.
Hello, everyone.
We're finishing up a marathon of live streaming over the last 4 days with the big boys.
Oh, yeah. It's only natural. It feels
Yeah.
fitting that we're going to get into dual boilers as we kind of sign off this marathon of live streams with some of our favorite machines and our favorite grinder.
Yeah,
too.
my favorite's sitting right back here. We did some special things with that. You're going to tell us about that. And I know you've used this in a lot of cafes, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So many cafes have this inside their coffee shops.
Pairs beautifully with any of these three machines, really does. No questions asked, you're gonna get fantastic grinds out of that. Let's talk about the machine. So we got the Profitec Drive, ECM Synchronika II,
Oh, yeah.
and the Crem Profiler here.
So all a little bit different, right? Right? So we have Profitec over here, ECM, Crem, different brands here, but that's not the only difference here. So it's also the control that you get between these machines are the main thing that really differs. Again, these are dual boilers. These are the top of the food chain, I would say. So if you were with us previously, we were on heat exchangers, and we had to, go through some hoops sometimes when extracting our coffee, right? So with dual boilers, that kind of throws all of that out the window because we have an individual boiler for steaming. And then we have an individual boiler for brewing. So this is specifically great for nice specific coffees that you want to have that control and that consistency, and you maybe are getting into latte art or want more pressure. You're not going to be changing your brew temperature as you're changing and increasing that steaming temperature.
Right, so you're going to know you're going to get the brew temperature you want. And real quick, just, we want to help you decide which one of these might be best for you. So what's common between these machines? Well, they're all rotary pumps.
Yep.
They're all plumbable or can run from reservoir. Got active and passive pre-infusion on the Drive and the Synchronika II, programmable, time programmable.
Yep.
They can do line pressure pre-infusion in that active portion if you're plumb direct to water line. And let me tell you, if you've been using a reservoir-fed machine, maybe you're looking to upgrade, you've been filling reservoirs, man, plumbing in a machine is just a life-changing experience as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about you, but I dislike filling reservoirs. I just know I always have water, and it's always perfect because I put a little filter in front of it, so I always get perfect water, because you do want to take care of these machines with good water quality, not only for flavor, but to protect the machine so you don't ever have to descale it, right?
Yeah, and this is where you can really call in and we can help you curate your own water as well, according to what water you have in your household and your location. So we can actually utilize BWT inline filters at this point and really get to the nitpicky details of water that's going to both care for the longevity of your machine, because you're not going to be producing lime scale at that point, and also help your overall taste.
Yeah, it really does a lot.
Simple as that.
Couple other things I want to mention: the Barista Assist, the Coffee Cast, and of course our library of videos. So we have in-depth videos on all of these machines. So go to Whole Latte Love, go down on the product page, you'll see the video there, take you soup to nuts through all of these machines. Plus just tons of content on like how to dial in your coffee if you're not familiar with that. But we also do the Barista Assist and Coffee Cast. Those are one-on-one sessions, two-way. So we can do video two ways and talk to you in real time, help you through if you've got a machine on your counter, you need some help with it, or you want a demo of a machine you're considering, we can do that too.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, and I think with that, let's go ahead and go into it. Yeah, so over here we have the Profitec Drive, if we can go ahead and get that. Starting from the top here, the whole entire top does come off. You can remove the actual guards from the top of this. So
got overhangs?
How it kind of overhangs like that. So a little more flush than, over there with the Synchronika. Those are the actual side panels that pose as the guardrails, which we'll see a little bit later. So starting from the top here, we do have flow control, much like we saw on our heat exchangers. This one actually being set to a different level. So with this one, it's going to be 1 1/4 turns to have that stock pressure with these specific rotary pumps and these specific machines over here. So we were working on a 500 over there. That was about 1 1/2 turns for that stock pressure. So a little bit different there. Moving on down to our pressure gauge. These are the new Profitec pressure gauges. Which we'll get there. Perfect. So we see that we can get into that pre-infusion. There's that ramp up, that brew, which shows all the way up to that 10 bar if you're looking for those, super high pressured shots right there, specifically for some older coffee or anything like that. And this provides so much information. There's a thing right over there on our Synchronika II that's also going to show a lot of information, which we'll get into a little bit later, that takes place of this, but we'll get into that in just a moment here. So with our Profitec portafilter here, so easily interchangeable also with other ECM or classic E61 sort of style portafilters, and the whole build quality of this, wow.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It really is. So some of the key differences over here too are the style of these buttons as well. So you can see it kind of glows with that on, and these kind of like embedded chrome buttons. So it feels very sleek.
If you're familiar with the old PID machines that had the two little kind of, they were just a pain. I mean, we still got the two buttons here, but we're getting like real language in the display to tell us where we are, and there's a lot more available within that display, like so you can set the time of day and have automatic turn on, turn off, easily adjust the temperature. The display does not look like that. It's rolling a little bit because of the video, but it doesn't roll like that in real life. But take us through there, the different...
Yeah, so we'll let this time out for a second so we can do that again with a nice little close-up here. Perfect, look at that. So as you can see here, we can quickly cycle between showing our steam pressure and our our steam temperature.
Which it correlates to a pressure.
It correlates. But and our brew temperature nice and large there. So this is a really clear screen. Again, with that refresh rate on that screen, not quite showing or giving justice with how clear this is. So if we actually go into our settings by holding both of our buttons, we can kind of quickly cycle through a different things like brew temperature, steam enable, so we can actually enable that steam boiler itself. Again, these kind of cycle pretty fast. So steam enable, steam temperature, pre-infusion. You can turn on your eco mode. You can set cleaning reminders. You can reset those reminders. More advanced user settings, filter reminders, timer enabled. And right after that, you can also set your schedule as well as we go back to that.
So you can have time of day on, off. I also mentioned quick heat up on this machine. So it overheats the brew boiler to get your E61 group head heated faster.
And then, of course, right there on the PID, you can actually change out where you're actually drawing water from. So if you're getting it from the tank or if you're doing that in line. So that's a kind of cool feature that you're actually putting that in on that PID as well.
And on this machine, this one stock with a flow control, I think you mentioned that. We do have the quick steam lever operated valves here. Love those. This machine is kind of derived from their very popular Pro 700 model, which had knobs to turn for that. Now we've got the quick steam levers like we'll have on the Synchronika when we see that as well.
And really nice commercial style wands on this too. So I was using this plenty on a lot of our live streams that we did previously, where I was teaching kind of the science behind milk frothing. This was kind of like my main go-to machine for that. So I think with that, we're going to utilize this to the best of its ability. We're going to go ahead and pull a shot and steam our milk at the same time. So if you were with us before, we had the heat exchangers, and it takes about the same time to kind of steam your milk through that extraction process, maybe a little bit more time. We'll go ahead and compare to see what this can do with this kind of maxed out too. So we should have a little more ability actually through that.
So we're going to grind here on the E37S, and we have decked that out a little bit. This has the red speed burr upgrade in it. This is an 83 millimeter burr grinder. Just smooth as silk. Beautiful, beautiful grounds distribution.
And that just locks right in. Super quick set adjustments. If you were actually on our live earlier, we went through a little bit of a baby brother, baby sister with the E5 Pro. This is going to be an 83 millimeter grinder here. Perfect combination with a dual boiler here.
Yeah. And this is a kind of grinder that, you could be using 30 years from now.
Oh, 100%. Yep. All right, so I'm at
what was our weight there? I'm curious.
14 grams there. So
we might have done a partial shot or something before that.
All right.
That is a smaller basket in this one that we're using. I think that's the stock basket.
Gotcha. So we'll go back up to what were we doing? 16?
Yeah, I set it up for 18 over here on these two. We'll see where we get.
Let's go ahead and go for a good 17 here.
Okay.
So I'm just going to give this a quick little tap here.
Hey, Russell, thanks for the comments there. A+ on the Synchronika II. Yep, we're going to get over there. I'll show you how this bad boy operates. Maybe you have one, and you use the RO plus the third wave water. That's definitely a way to go. You're just adding minerals back in with that additive.
Oh yeah.
There are ways to do that. Are maybe a little bit cheaper than prepackaged, but prepackaged is really easy.
Oh yeah. Again, we can help you kind of curate any of that water issue that you have. Simple call, and even myself, I can run your numbers and see what we can come up with. So I'm actually using one of our Bose tamps. So this is going to keep everything consistent for us today. I actually, dialed this in earlier today, and it's been consistent ever since. And I want to keep that consistency throughout the day. So I'm going to go ahead and just, I need to turn that on there. And I'm just going to go ahead and plop that right on top. I said it earlier to do 2 tamps.
2 tamps, okay.
I just like the consistency that 2 tamps can really give me. So it really lets it kind of set at the bottom, and I'm doubling that amount of pressure out. So.
And I notice you're air tamping there, which is okay when you're using this. When if you're using, like one of these, don't do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is the only time that you can actually air tamp. So I would say you have to buy an air tamper. I would consider this an air tamper if I was to, put some terminology on it. So it looks like I did actually overdose a little bit on this. So we'll see how well this extraction goes.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and go for it, because we can always utilize flow control at this point, which is great, to actually kind of limit our pressure out if we did mess up or increase.
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just use one of our not neutral cups up here. And I'm also going to prep some milk very quickly here. Oh, we have to be per brand.
Yeah.
Right.
See,
let's do this brew.
You got your nasty jug over there.
Here.
Now, you like pouring out of that jug, yes?
Oh, yeah. So I really like this fine tip that I have on here. So we'll see what kind of latte art I can do. Might be a little something in there. Who knows? And then we're going to go ahead and switch it up to this Accu Mini scale as well. We've been using that kind of all day here.
Really like the Accu scales, a lot of functionality in there. We've done some other videos on those, so if you want to check those out, all the different things they can do.
Definitely. So I have that kind of auto-tared out for me there. And we're kind of ready to go. I already kind of purged out my wand, so any of that excess water's inside there. And that's not even going to affect my brewing temperature whatsoever when I do that. So I'm going to go ahead and see what this baby can do.
Now I've got the temperature all the way up on this one, but you can turn down your steam temperature, which is going to reduce the pressure if you want a little more time to work with your milk. It's one of the really nice things about this. You can't really do that on a heat exchange machine. Every time you change the boiler temperature, you're changing pressure and brew temperatures.
Exactly. So, and with this, super nice consistency, and the quality of steam that I'm getting from this is absolutely amazing. All right. Perfect.
Looking good. Your shot come in where you wanted there?
I was a little behind there, right at 30 grams. I could have pushed it 2 more grams or so, but definitely well within. Again, this doubles as a shot timer. I was utilizing our shot timer on our Mini here instead. But either way, whatever you want to pay attention to is what you should do. So, all right, and I have amazing consistency here, and let's go ahead and get that nice, good overshot, and you can see that consistency of the milk. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is something what I would expect out of a commercial milk quality here. Let's go ahead and see what I can do here. Cool.
Well, you got all kinds of fun going on in that cup.
Yeah, just a little seahorse.
Very nice.
All right. And that's what we start getting to with this dual boiler is, a lot of really fun techniques that you can start getting into. So utilizing some fine tips to start doing some cool little things with a little seahorse and his little face there. Give him a little belly because he's full from Thanksgiving too.
Still, huh? Or maybe doing the leftovers.
Oh
right?
yeah, no, I've been eating leftovers for days. So that's a little part of me in there.
Okay, what else should we know here? We talked about, there is programmable active and passive pre-infusion in here, so you can set a time for active pre-infusion. That's going to run the pump and then stop the pump, and then the passive part is the delay before the pump kicks back on. And you can turn that, there's a nice switcheroo. You can turn that, off and on globally within there, so you can just turn it right off if you want it. This machine does come stock with a flow control. We've done a lot of videos about how you can utilize the flow control to improve your espresso. I know you worked a lot with World Barista Championship judge Danilo Lodi.
I did.
Working with that. Well, and especially when we were doing some of the stuff with the press sensor, which we'll talk a little bit about over here. But the Drive, just a wonderful machine. Again, it's got that quick heat up time. It used to be on an E61 group machine, you're looking at like that 25 minutes or so to really get fully temperature stable. On this one, we're under 15 minutes, well under 15 minutes. It's ready to go.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
it looks like we have a couple little comments right down here. Looking to buy a Chiato. 1.25 turns, water blows through our grind in about 10 seconds.
KitchenAid grinder.
Must be too coarse. Yep,
Yeah.
Definitely. So that would be a clear sign of your grind size being a little too coarse. You would also not show quite a full pressure. We don't have as much resistance there with a super coarse grind. So you'll probably show a pretty low pressure. Won't quite hit up to that stock bar pressure, even at 1.25 there.
And just one thing to check on that, I know because this was an issue with some folks in the past, make sure that if it's fully closed that you're getting no flow, because there was a time when you wouldn't actually be all the way closed when you thought you were all the way closed. So just double check that. And you do want to have that open when the machine is just idle at 1 1/4, so you do get flow through the group and keep it warm.
Oh yeah,
a couple things to know about that. But really nice job. So just a couple other things real quick to notice over here is the position of the gauges, right? They're down low. You do have, the study is going to come stock with a gauge on the group for your brew pressure there, which is actually more accurate than what you're going to see on a machine gauge, because that's measured back by the pump. This is measured right close to where your coffee is.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
they're typically going to be pretty dang similar, but just a little more accuracy there. Of course, a really nice, really nice big old valves here, very similar to what you get on the Synchronika when we take a look at that, but a beautiful machine.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
and if we're really getting into the nitpicky details, I feel like we should start, maybe possibly walking over to the nitpicky details that we start getting off of this ECM, right? It's all in the detail once we start getting over to this new Synchronika II from ECM. So this is one of my favorite machines right now. Extremely capable, and really with their gnarled upgrade of this new control for the PID, which we'll get here in just a second here. It's a little hard to see here.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead and take off that portafilter there. Will can get in nice and close. We have this gnarled adjustment now for our actual PID. Again, nice big screen there, a little bit larger than what you get from the Profitec. Nice green on color with that rocker switch as well. Quickly getting into settings by double pressing and then quickly going through, much of what you see over at the Profitec that we've already gone through. In fact, looking very, very similar there. But this actual control of that is super nice.
Yeah, I've been doing these videos for about 14 years now, and the old school PIDs, it's a step up on the Drive here. This is a real step up, because the old ones were, press and hold those two things and then just go into things. And there was no description of what you were doing, what's T1, what's T2, what's, and if you go into some of the deeper like service menus, don't suggest you go there, where you can start messing with some other stuff. It gets kind of confusing, but to have the plain language there on the screen is just so nice, makes life so easy, and the easy access, just turning the knob.
Oh yeah, definitely. So if you have a hard time kind of seeing those smaller PIDs and messing around with those buttons, this is the perfect solution to that. It gives you so much control, way easier.
And one other really unique thing in the group here, we have heaters within the group. So when this machine turns on, The group is going to be electrically heated, so it's going to be ready to brew very, very quickly. Again, reducing that wait time.
Yeah, correct. So that thermoblock actually brings this machine ready to brew in 6 minutes. This is a dual boiler. So before, back in the day, that's unheard of. To have a dual boiler that is ready to brew in 6 minutes, I mean, that's kind of the future, the dream, where we're at right now with that. So
that's a really unique feature. And that's just when the machine's heating up, then that kind of goes off, turns off, so that heater's not on all the time. But we also have the quick steam valves here. Notice the position of the gauges here. They're up top as opposed to on the drive, they're down low. So these are very easy to view. The Synchronika, we have flow control on here and this little guy.
Oh yeah, so as you can see, we do have an iPad connected to our machine today. And that's actually gonna give us even more of a precise control of how we're pulling our shot. So this is gonna show in real time our flow and our pressure, and that's gonna graph that out. And you can even, save the coffee extractions that you've liked from, maybe the previous day or a previous time. Save that with all the information that you might need right in the app.
Yeah.
And replicate it exactly. This is the only way that you can really replicate that God shot that you've had before.
And that's a really cool, we did a really in-depth video. I think it ran like 25 minutes where we go through all the possibilities with a press sensor, how it can help you dial in your coffee. You can kind of match up to a dial-in graph on here. But you're going to get a readout in real time of your brew pressure and your flow rates. And we have a AccuPro scale connected here as well. So 2 things connected to the app here, the press sensor right here itself and the AccuPro scale, but this is going to work with Akaya scales and other Bluetooth scales as well.
Correct. So very easily compatible, and all you have to do is just press on the pressure or weight where you're going to be, interchanging between scales or anything like that.
Registering our weight in real time there, if you can see the screen.
And easily tare. So this is a great way to track a lot of progress within your own extractions, and it also grades you as well. So we actually had a competition in that last press sensor video. If you haven't checked it out, I won. I mean,
now in fairness, you did a few hundred shots, so
I have
leading up to it.
Had a huge part to play within a lot of the footage behind this, including most of that being behind VR. In fact, this can connect to virtual reality, so I had those profiles up all around me, and I was really getting into it when developing our light, medium, and dark roast with the Nilo Lodi.
So real quick, we'll take a look at what's going on there. But the other difference, now internally, the boilers and the rotary pump, it's pretty much the same between the Profitec and the ECM.
Correct.
Just a little bit more detail happening. Now look, the drive has beautiful finishing, but it takes things just a step further over here. And you can see we've decked ours out with some wood trim, which you can coordinate with like the wood lid we have on the E37S here, portafilter handles. We've got it on the lever here, even on the flow control knob, and you can coordinate those Vitamin wood accessories, which you can customize on the website and make the machine yours.
So we have a brand new bundler on our website. It's amazing because you can see things in real time. You can set different backgrounds, you can pair it with the grinder that you want, and then change the wooden components that you want to see right on your machine.
It's
and even also, again, in VR.
Yeah, so. we're very proud of those abilities on the site, being able to do that, customize the machine, make it your own. So,
definitely.
Shall we pull a shot and have another pour? Okay.
All right, so I'm at zeroed out here. Let's go ahead and go to that double shot button.
Again, we're not looking at it close, but this is just a gorgeous grinder. The grinds that come out of there. Never a clump at an espresso size, ever.
And again, we're focused on high uniformity today with those red speed burrs. So we have a pretty bougie setup, I would say, over here. This is, definitely ready for world barista stages. A lot of these Chiatos are currently used within world champions and world championships and some of our favorite coffee shops out there as well.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, this is a nice fluffy grind. I don't really need to do much prep. I'm going to go straight into using my Bose tamper here. I'm going to let that go twice. And we are set to go.
That's got to be like the easiest tamping there is, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, so if you're really looking at, speeding up your morning process here, this is a great way to go. So we have a nice flat basket inside this, a little bit of an upgrade. We do have ECM Nanotech portafilter baskets that can actually pair up really nicely with this.
Which have the logo actually inside the basket. I think there's one over there.
Oh yeah, look at this. Wow, so we have plenty over here to actually show. Let's go ahead and, yep, there we go. These are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you can see that nanotech coating right there. Beautiful baskets. I personally like the 20-gram one. That's a good preference of mine, especially for a lot of light roasts. You want to add a little more coffee than normal, just due to the amount of resistance that you're trying to create, because it doesn't naturally have that much resistance because it's very dense. Water wants to shoot past it. So
yeah.
All right.
Ken, that was the Bose tamper.
The Bose tamper. Yeah.
Thanks for the question.
Things
and
amazing.
Robert, that's a Chiato E37S.
Yes. E37S.
Let's see. John ordered his Synchronika II last night. Congratulations, John. Let us know what you think.
All right. So should we get to an extraction here?
Yeah, let's get to it.
I'm going to go ahead and prep some milk so I'm all ready here. Again, we're going to do everything all at once. Use the benefit.
And we'll record the extraction here and see what we did.
Yep. All right. So let's go ahead, throw on our portafilter and one of those not neutrals so I can go ahead and give it a good pour again. Oh. And if you want to go ahead and pull our shot.
Yep. So I'm just going to pull the lever and hit start up here.
Correct.
And as you follow along, it's going to give us a readout on our pressure and our flow.
And as you can see, no change in pressure either, even as I'm steaming.
And I'm at 17. I'm going to cut that right there at 34. So you want maybe a little short. I think the dose was just a little light compared to what we had dialed in for.
That might have been my bad. I think I forgot to check.
Yeah.
I was trusting the grinder there. All right. Give this a quick little wipe off. Always cleaning every single time, especially on such a beautiful machine.
Now I want to see you do the same seahorse again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so this is a little bit of a different sort of pitcher here. So I think this ECM pitcher goes extremely well, with any ECM. Kind of over poured here, so I might pour out some milk. And I'm looking a little thin, so we're going to see how well this really goes. Might not have too much foam here. Making a nice little base here. Yeah, it might be a little thin.
Oh, you're going for it, aren't you?
Yeah, I messed up on that one a little bit, but, it's a seahorse. They're hard.
Now, I don't know too many people who can get that close twice in a row, so good on you.
We're using today as practice, but, practice live.
Okay, so another thing about Synchronika to know is, again, that finish detail. If you've seen any of my videos, one of the first things I do when I get a new machine is I pull out the drip tray, I look at the internal seams in there and the welds in there. Are the welds visible? Are they polished out? And that kind of thing. And on this one, it is. I mean, and that's a little quality detail that you see throughout the machine. You'll notice the E61 on here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a slight taper in on the group that you won't find on the Drive over there or any other machine that I'm aware of. It may exist on some other machines, but I haven't run into it yet.
Yeah, really just the TCA, but that's more of a triangle that you would get on the Rocket TCA Apartamento.
Also, one of the easiest, oh my gosh, forgot to turn off my alarms.
Live TV. It's New York. It literally is. We're in New York. So.
But you got the faceting on the exhaust port of the E61 here, little extra touch. Easiest machine to get into. 3 screws and the sides and back panel are off. It's a single piece frame on the bottom, the black down here. It's one piece front to back, which is really nice.
Looks like we have
it's just a beautiful machine.
Comment down there. What's the software program on the iPad? So this is all Press Sensor. So Press Sensor actually developed their own app for this, and it's absolutely fantastic. You can actually revert to other machines that you'll probably never get your chance to really get your hand on, commercial lever machines and things that you can actually mimic those pressure profiles just by following along, utilizing flow control.
And that app is available for Apple and Android. We happen to be using an iPad here, but you could go get that at the App Store or wherever you get your Android apps right now if you wanted to.
And I've pulled a couple hundred shots on all of them, and I can say they work really well.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Any other Synchronika things we should mention here? I don't.
Besides how amazing it is. I mean,
it is.
The feet are really nice. It's just such a sturdy machine. Everything about it, this whole entire, sort of metal base as well, it just gives such a sturdy feel to just having kind of that framework down below. When you're behind this machine, it just feels so,
Yeah. Oh, another little, it's an angled portafilter that comes stock with it.
Those ergonomics, they really pay attention to those ergonomics with these angled portafilters as well. So I really like how they do that. Kind of helps your shoulder too, especially if you have different sized countertops. A lot of the kitchen countertops are a little bit higher. So you don't really want those straight portafilters for those, so the ergonomics are a little bit better for you. Yeah,
kind of if you're in a tamp, it sits almost perfectly flat when you just set it on a counter, as opposed to a straight handled that we have on the drive over there, which you'd have to hold it up a little bit. We do have tamp stations available that match for both Profitec and ECM and other brands, and even Vitamin has a really nice tamp station that has wood components that'll match exactly like with the wood that's on here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that's awesome. I'm gonna get this out of the way here, and we'll take care of that for you.
Oh, perfect. You're knocking.
Get that cleaned up. And I guess we'll move over to the Profiler.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to the Profiler. So this machine, made in Spain.
Made in Spain.
You might have actually heard of, some of its older machines, actually Expo Bar, technically. So is now Crem. So they do have a good name and backing behind this. And now made in Spain, the attention to detail and everything that they've done here is absolutely amazing, starting with even the shot screen. If you can see, that's a mirrored surface right there. You can watch those bottomless portafilter extractions of that bottomless portafilter that comes with the machine as well. And as you can see, starting at the top here, things look a little bit different. So it's only half of the machine that actually has to come up for this to access the water reservoir that pulls out from the top. And coming down from there, we do have more of a traditional quarter turn on our actual steam.
Yeah, sort of got the top there. So there is a reservoir in there, but you can plumb this machine.
Yep.
So it's no problem. Love it. And this one is super, super quiet when it operates. And it's got some special stuff going on. There's a knob on the side of the machine that gives you some added functionality.
Oh yeah, so when we're talking about the knob on the side, this is actually controlling that DC output into the pump. So you can actually control how much pressure the pump is going to give out. So much like your flow control over here, but even more precise when going through this movement. So even when paired with one of our press sensors, you can see how steady and how much control you have with that knob when controlling your actual flow. So we can actually go through a shot and show you how to best utilize that knob on the side. Now, we can actually recall some profiles actually from the top by quickly scrolling through this. Accidentally tamped there. As we scroll through this, there's actually other profiles that I've programmed within here that I can actually recall, and it'll actually run the same sort of profile, the pressure profile that I pulled before, and stop your pump when it's done. So you're going to be nice and consistent. Anyone can pull these shots. Something like the Bose paired with this, someone can walk up to this and not even have to think about it.
And I think, like one use case for me is, you got like a true espresso hobbyist in a house, and then somebody who just wants to, pull shots and make a latte. So that your hobbyist can get it kind of that profile set for the coffee, and then somebody else can just walk up, call up that profile, pull the lever, and let the machine do the rest.
Exactly. So super easy, simple to do. And that screen being right up on top, it provides some use right there too. So you can kind of watch that and see your extractions afterwards, much kind of like the press sensor, but I feel like the press sensor paired with that gives it the most optimal situation possible when recreating any of those profiles.
And I'll point out a couple other things while maybe you're just doing your air tamping over there.
Sorry. Yeah.
Again, that's the Bose tamper. So you do have a removable platform here if you want to pop a scale in right here. That's really nice. And this drip tray is massive, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you're a little bit of a procrastinator, and it's also electronically monitored. So I'm going to try and show those. Yep. So the little strips right here. So it tells you in the display when it's time to empty this. If you're a procrastinator. But it also can be connected to a drain line. If you can see down in here, you can put this out and get a drain line on here so you never all have to empty it. You're going to want to clean it every once in a while. But
and one key difference between this machine and others is this is actually NSF certified.
Yeah.
We can have this within a commercial environment. So let's say you have a little pop-up or you have a coffee kiosk or anything like that. You can quickly and efficiently set this up, maybe with a flow jet or just utilizing the tank, and you're set to go. Utilizing the dual boiler within this and these profiles, it's extremely efficient because you're just pressing the button on the side or scrolling to your previous shot and going. All right, so I think with this one, maybe I'll do a little bit of a custom one.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and scroll through, and utilizing this little wheel on the side, I'll be changing the actual amount of energy to my pump. So I'll be pressure profiling.
And I want you to listen closely because see if you can even hear the pump running because it's just so whisper quiet. I mean, you can hear it. I'm not trying to fool anybody, but it is a very, very quiet pump.
All right, so I'm going to grab this mini over here. And one cool thing about this drip tray as well, if we zoom in here just in a second.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, so this actual top.
Oh, I did hit that.
Comes up.
Yeah. So we got a little spot for a scale in there.
And we can actually go ahead and throw that scale on a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize that right now.
Okay. You do straight espresso here?
And
you're going to go all the way.
I'll probably go ahead.
Now, of course, you can brew and steam simultaneously.
Maybe I'll actually recall a recipe so it just does it automatically for me, and I'll start steaming. So we'll do that first. If anyone wants to see how to create those profiles, we can definitely do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and recall to something right now. So if we actually go ahead and get into our machine here, Will, perfect. And all I'm going to do in order to do that is scroll on my wheel, and I can actually see here's a good 36 out. Now, this was a weird one because we programmed it just to show its ramp up and ramp downs on this. So it's going to be all over the place. It's not something that I would really recommend for the extraction on this, but we're going to go ahead and do it
just to show
anyways.
the possibilities.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and press to recall, and it's going to tell me to put up my lever.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and steam out a little bit right now. And it's going to identify when I lift up that lever. And if I'm practicing latte art and I'm not paying attention, this is actually going to stop it on its own as well.
So if you can hear that, I'm going to get close to the machine. It's just, and you can hear the pitch change just a little bit there as it's varying the pressure.
So it definitely sounds a little different there.
And you do get a readout here of what's going on.
And there, it stopped right at 36 grams there. And I didn't actually stop my pump, so it kept dripping there, so it did go over. But typically, that pump stops right on the gram, and I can then put down that lever. Let's go ahead and try to steam up some milk here.
Nope, there you go.
My head. And what's really great about this machine too is how much control you actually have over your foam as well with this sort of lever.
I've seen the comments, just some confusion over where the Profitec and ECM machines are made now. Synchronika is Germany, Drive's Germany. They did have a facility in Milan. I've actually been there, to a production facility in Milan, but they've since moved a lot of their manufacturing back to Germany.
All right, so I think with this sort of pitcher, it's going to be pretty impossible for me to do a seahorse, but maybe I'll be able to do a little stack or something. I know everyone's coming here for the latte art. So we'll see what we can get here. And a nice little swan.
There you go.
That'll do, right?
But you do, like you say, you do really like the nasty jug over here with the with a little more definition in the tip.
Yeah,
right?
as you can tell, I really did a lot better with the nasty jug for that specific art. For something like the ECM here, you know, I would definitely suggest more of like a tulip stacked sort of situation with those. And then over here, you know, with this last pitcher, it kind of does a little bit in between anything because of this specific point. As you can see, this one's a little bit rounder. This one's a lot finer. And this one, you know, somewhere in between. So I could have done either one, but the size of this pitcher too kind of limits that. So just a simple little swan, nothing much.
So I see Ken and Rob are having their own little discussion there about the iPad thing working with single boiler machines. Well, you really want to have the press sensor, right? So you can monitor pressure, and unless you're using, let's say, like an ECM Classica.
Puristica as well.
Or Puristica,
Puristica,
which does have a
totally
E61. So really it's got to be an E61 group machine that has that port right in the group head so that you can mount this. But any E61 group machine you can mount this into. And then, of course, get the scale, too, to go along with it, a Bluetooth scale, so you can connect that up and do all that tracking.
Definitely.
So, yeah, a lot of single boiler machines, no.
Yeah, and if you have any other questions, too, feel free to reach out because we do know this stuff like the back of our hands. If you have any press sensor questions, you know, that might actually get directed on over to my attention. So we might have a conversation about that as well.
But a lot of those questions get answered in that video. I think we put it up last Wednesday. So go to our YouTube channel there, Whole Latte Love, and you can check that out in, you know, our recent videos. We did a really deep dive in that. And we did you did a lot of research into that to develop some roasting profiles for, you know, basic light, medium, and dark roast, even with some specific coffees. So again, the profiler here, just a lot going on. I mean, it's, you know, the build is a little different than what we see out of these traditional, I'm going to call them Italian machines, although now made in Germany, that we see over there. But lots of lovely little details here, lots of capabilities in the control, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. So as you kind of scroll through, I like to think of these two little top buttons. Will's about to get in here, perfect. These two little top buttons as scrolling through your settings. You can quickly actually enter these into eco mode, and you'll see both of those boilers go into eco mode. But if we keep scrolling here, we go through each one of our settings. So this is a quick way to get into both of our temp settings for our brew temperature and our boiler steam temperature. More information on our eco mode as well as our boiler. These are clock sets and cleaning reminders, more scheduling that we can actually get in here, and even actually our previous brew graphs as well, which is a pretty interesting characteristic that we can do. So date, time, go deeper into settings. There's a lot of different stuff that you can actually go through and dive into the settings of this machine.
So it's a little more icon driven here on the display here than the real language we get over here. So it does take, you know, a little bit of time of getting used to, you know, what things mean. But once you get it down, you know, you got a lot of power there.
Oh yeah, and it's right there in front of you too. And in order to save any of those profiles that we did previously, we didn't quite show that part yet, but right after that, it does prompt you to save a new profile, and you can quickly save right from that screen right there at the end. So if you did really enjoy something, just go ahead and punch in a name for it. You know, 36 out or Zach's shot. And, you know, if you see Zach's shot, you know it's going to be good.
Or OMG, that was,
OMG.